Hi guys, and welcome back to Naturally Catholic. In today's video, I'm going to talk about our first year of homeschool, and I'm going to give a tiny review about the curriculum that we used and kind of just the structure and schedule that I established in our homeschooling routine. Okay, so the first thing that we would do every single morning before we started actual work is prayer. So we had our prayer time, and what we would do is say our Father, our Hail Mary, our Glory Be, and our Guardian Angel prayer. And then we would take out this book. This is our First Communion Catechism. This actually came with the curriculum that I bought from Mother of Divine Grace. It goes through 11 lessons, and each lesson you are supposed to do every single day. Well, whatever day you choose. So for us, we homeschooled Monday through Thursday. And we would do a lesson each day out of our catechism. It goes through how God made them and how wonderfully He made them and how He created the world and, you know, those stories. And so this is what we would do first. Every single morning, our morning prayers and then our catechism, and then we would go through and read about a saint of the day, and I would read them a story, and then we would review it, and I would ask them, okay, so what are some of the things that stuck out to you guys? How can we implement those things in our everyday life to help us strive for sainthood? Also, I would ask them whenever we finish all of this if they had anything on their hearts that they wanted to offer up in a prayer, and we would sit and have prayer time. So that's what we did to start our morning. The next thing that we would start doing is our work. So what this looks like for us is that Harper would usually start with something that he could do independently, and usually that always was handwriting. This is what it would look like. This is actually Luca's because it's kindergarten, and Harper had the first grade one, which was the green one. So basically it's just a handwriting book about all things Catholic, of course. And he would just go through it and do some handwriting. And while he was doing handwriting, I usually had Luca at my desk having some one-on-one time. Now Luca was in kindergarten, so a lot of things that we are learning for kindergarten are, you know, 1, 2, 3s, ABCs, establishing shapes and colors and things like that. So that was stuff that he really needed to have hands-on mommy time with. And that's what we did at my desk. Harper, on the other hand, there were a few things like handwriting and some small math problems that he could do on his own. So also to help run my day a little bit easier, Mother of Divine Grace gives a syllabus for each grade. So I went ahead and purchased this because I knew that for me, being my first year and not really knowing how to structure it by myself, that this would come in handy and really help me out. And it did. I loved having this. It helped me stay on track. Also, it has a bunch of bonus things like feast days in the very back. It also has some great sites that you can go and look up if you are wanting more inspiration. So this was really helpful. And also, it also has a list of really great Catholic-based books that you can order from their site. But I do recommend getting a syllabus if this is your first time ever homeschooling. It will help you out. The other thing that I really loved doing, and I'm glad that I implemented, was writing out everything that was in the syllabus into an actual planner, because I did not want to mark up my syllabus. I wanted to keep it nice and clean. So what I did, so I'm going to set you down. Say bye-bye. So what I would do for each day, I would write out each child's lesson. So these are the days. I would write out each lesson that they needed to complete for that day, and as we completed that lesson, I would just mark it out with a highlighter. So this helped me stay on track throughout the day, and it made it so much easier. So I recommend grabbing a planner and writing down your child's school day. It will help you get it done. For Harper's math, he actually had the Becca math book, and this is something that, again, I got a suggestion. So I ordered this directly from Becca, their website, but it was suggested through the Mother of Divine Grace package for that grade. So this is what he did. I might choose a different math curriculum for this upcoming year. The only thing I really didn't like is that this really felt like just textbook work. So for me, I just really would have liked something a little more structured besides just handing him this big textbook. But we got it done, we're not complaining, and he did really great. So it was good for us overall. So the other thing that we got in our Mother of Divine Grace package for the first year is our Catholic hymn book. Hymns are Catholic hymns. So they have a section on their website. It's the Catholic Hymns resource page, and you can go to that, and they have an actual playlist of all of the hymns that are in this, and you can play it while they're working, or you can choose to actually spend more time with it and do it like in the afternoon and sit down with it and actually go through it. I honestly didn't follow their suggestions for this. I would have a song of the day or song of the week, and then what we would do, I would just play it while they were doing something creative. I really loved having this. It was so nice to have beautiful Catholic hymns to listen to while we're working on our school day. For phonics, we have this Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. I absolutely love this. This is something that I will keep forever and ever, and once you buy this, you can have it forever. It's not something that you ever have to mark up and buy another one. So we will be using this for Luca for his first grade. It has 2 grades in it, kindergarten and first grade. And I love it. I'm going to use this always for each child that pops up.
Speaking of childs that pop up, I just popped up out of your chair.
For geography, this is what came. It's a first grade map skill. And it kind of just goes through, and this is just 1 day's worth of work. You would just do 1 page. It would go through just a short little summary about South America and like the types of animals and the climate and things like that. And then it would prompt you with 2 questions, and you would just fill that in. This is something that you write in. It cannot be reused. They are paper and get ripped apart very easily. I did like having this though, because he really enjoys learning about geography. So for science, this is what we have, and it's very similar to the geography. I did mark in this a lot, but you totally could keep this as a hard copy and not mark in it and maybe mark on a paper. So some of the things that you would have to do in this one is like do the seasons and have the child draw a cute little picture about what season you're in. You could give them a paper and keep this clean essentially and reuse it. For fall, that's what we did. We got super creative and got large pieces of paper, and we went outside and picked twigs and leaves, and we made trees out of natural things from our backyard. So that's something that you can do. You can get super creative. You don't have to follow everything in the book. It does not have to be textbook. You can really make it your own. For spring, we did the same thing. And then what I really loved about this is they gave great history to a lot of the great Catholic theologians and scientists, and it gave a story and how the person started out their science journey and who they were in the history of their life, and I really loved reading this. So super cute illustration and stories. So science is really hard for me to do because I'm not someone who likes to get dirty and go play in the mud, but I love to watch them through a window, and they can bring it inside and I'll tell them a little story about what kind of tree that is and things like that. So a couple other things that came in my first grade package is this book, Peter and the Wolf. You can definitely skip this. You don't have to get this. This is just a storybook, but I thought it was cute, so I decided to get that. Another thing that came with it is this big poetry book. So I love making purchases like this because I know that I'm going to get multiple uses out of this. And again, this is just beautifully illustrated, beautiful little poems. And what we would do is we would read short little ones, or some of them were lengthy. And for Luca, I kind of just picked, since his wasn't really structured, and I would have them every single day memorize 1 line, and then we would move on to 2 lines, and then, you know, the first stanza, second stanza, and then by the end of the month, they would recite the entire thing to me, and then they memorized beautiful Catholic poetry out of this. And then first grade art. I could have gone without this. This was just, it didn't catch their attention. They weren't super interested in it, but I really enjoyed looking at it because there's a lot of beautiful art in here. But for a first grader and a kindergartner, I think giving them some markers and a piece of paper or like paint is the way to go for art. But I did enjoy learning about a lot of the art. I just am not one to read it from a textbook. Okay, so that's it. That's all that came in my Mother of Divine Grace first grade package. I did do a couple extra things to kind of just run my day a little bit smoother. I got one of these, and I would just write out like a scripture or some numbers or letters, or like, for instance, I would write Luca's name out in permanent marker, and he would go back and trace it. And so this was something that I did if I really needed him to stay busy while I was giving a little more extra attention to Harper. I would do something like that. But whenever they were done with their work for the entire day, I would put it in a separate folder. So I would put all of their work for the end of the day in this folder, and then at the end of the week, I would bring it to our principal, who is Daddy, and he would just review some of their work, and they would be able to show him all the things that they did. And then what I would do was I would take all of their work out of their folder, and some of the things if I wanted to keep, I would keep, and other things I would just kind of throw away without them seeing. So this is nice to have, having a folder for each kid to kind of keep all the work that they do at the end of the day. If you want to keep it for your own records, you could do that. So another thing that I would do was I had these orange folders, and every week I would get on my different sites. I would print off worksheets that were free that I could use as a resource. I like to start every morning to kind of get their brain working. I would like for them to do a Monday packet or a Tuesday packet of just things that I've printed off before we actually started our actual school day. So some of the things that they would do, for instance, I would have a little speed drill that Harper would do, and he would just do this on his own, and he would time himself. Another thing, I would have him like write out some of his sight words before he could start his day. And this also gave me extra time if I was kind of running behind and I needed to structure my day or write out my write my planner, what we were doing that day. This gave me a little bit more time to do so. Something else that I did was I had a folder for myself. A couple things that I printed off that I wanted to eventually get to for them, or if there was a day where they finished all their work, or if I really needed to focus on like one of them, I would give them something out of my folder to work on. So this is something that would be for Luca. So keeping a folder of a bunch of resource papers or coloring worksheets for you to always have on hand is a great idea. If you're someone who wants to establish like a behavior chart or some kind of rewarding system, then I'll just give you a little idea that I tried. I will say that this did not end up lasting for us very long, but we did use this for a few months, and they seemed to really like it. So what I did was I got a red folder and I marked it behavior. And I kind of just made a little checklist of good behavior things that you can do to then get a golden star. And every 10 stars that they got, I would then reward them with a treat. So their treat could be something like a small ice cream cone from a drive-thru, or they kind of pick what we do for that day, things like that. In order to get a gold star, these are the things that you have to do all day. So one of them, for instance, is I stayed on task today, I was kind to others around me, I picked up after myself. I mean, you could get super creative, but these are some of the things that I just came up with and printed off. And then like I said, I mean, it didn't last very long because sometimes they didn't listen, so they didn't get a ton of stars. Are you laughing? But when they did, I mean, it was a great system. I honestly could have stuck to it, but I kind of just started saying, look, if you don't listen, I'm just going to tell your dad. So that's it. That's all I did. I made it really simple and kept it super easy. So these are some of the things that I got from Mother of Divine Grace that we did for our first year of homeschool. So if you're new and you're starting out homeschool, I would just say this: keep it super simple. Buy a package for the first time if you're new to this, just to keep it easy on yourself. And then like next year, if you want to kind of pull things from here or there, like I plan on doing, then you can do that because you have a little more of a history about like what programs to use and things like that. Until next time, thank you so much and God bless.